They're not sending their best. They're sending people that have lots of problems. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people.
Hey everyone, welcome to the show. So America's defendant has finally been hit with a contempt of court charge in the defamation judgment proceedings with election workers Rudy Freeman and Shaye Moss. As I've been sharing with all of you for more than a year now, Rudy Giuliani has been hiding his assets. He's refused to turn over discovery items. He's just been stalling the court left and right. And this is in regard to that $148 million judgment against him. So after months and months of excuses, Judge Louis Lyman agreed to hold a contempt hearing. This was to determine if Giuliani had legitimate reasons for failing to comply with the court's orders. So the hearing was scheduled for last Friday, January 3rd. True to form, Giuliani started playing games. He knew about this hearing. It was scheduled weeks in advance, but he waited until last Thursday afternoon, before it was supposed to start, and he asked to have a virtual appearance. So Giuliani's new attorney told the judge Giuliani wanted to appear either via Zoom or maybe just call in on a phone because he said he was having, quote, medical issues with his left knee and, quote, breathing problems due to lung issues after being at the World Trade Center site on September 11, 2001. Giuliani also said if the court granted his request, he wasn't going to testify. So instead, what Giuliani wanted to do was, he said, can the court just use my previous filings and my depositions as a substitute? Well, the judge smacked him down on everything. So the judge wrote in a 4-page ruling that not only would Giuliani need to show up, but if he chose to use his previous filings and his statements as testimony or in lieu of testimony, Moss and Freeman's attorneys would still have the right to cross-examine him. It's basically like, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Either you testify, or put up this other alternative information and they get to cross-examine you, or nothing. You can't just put forth your version of events and then let it stand. And Judge Lyman said if Giuliani didn't show up in person, he would automatically rule in favor of the plaintiffs. He also called out Giuliani's so-called health excuses, and he wrote, quote, defendant does not assert he is unable to travel. He submits no medical evidence. He has appeared in person at 2 prior hearings in this matter. He has previously asked for an adjournment of the trial so that he could travel to Washington, D.C. this month. Because remember, Giuliani asked for this whole thing to be pushed back. He was like, I don't want to have to, because he has to appear later this month for other portions of this case. And he asked if he could have a delay because he wanted to go to Donald Trump's inauguration. So he's good enough for that, but, can't come to court for hearing. So Giuliani showed up. He testified for 3 hours last Friday, and he spun some very tall tales. He told the judge that he didn't purposely withhold information about his assets, but he admitted that he hid his grandfather's pocket watch, which apparently is this gold pocket watch that's like 120 years old. So Giuliani said, quote, I felt it could get lost if I turned it over. I'm not trying to hide it from anyone. I took it upon myself to put it in a safe place. It's the one thing that means something to me. Yeah, okay. Apparently doesn't mean as much to him as Donald Trump. I mean, he was willing to risk everything, risk losing all of his assets to lie for Donald Trump. So anyway, Giuliani also claimed that some of his belongings have just disappeared. They've just vanished. He said, you might recall, there was this Joe DiMaggio Yankees jersey that it was framed and it was hanging above a fireplace mantle in his real estate listing photos. So when he listed this property for sale, photo of that Joe DiMaggio jersey was right there. Yet Giuliani, when he handed the keys over to Moss and Freeman, all of that stuff was gone. It just vanished from his apartment. Now, his best friend and a priest, by the way, it's a guy named Alan Plaka, he told the court in a deposition that he saw that jersey, the Joe DiMaggio jersey, I can speak. He said he saw it in Giuliani's Florida condo. Now, Giuliani says, oh no, Plaka is mistaken. It was in New York. That was the last I saw of it. And he just has no idea where it is. And then he also claims he, quote unquote, just can't find a signed picture that he had of former New York Yankees legend Reggie Jackson. And Giuliani is trying to blame, number one, he said his various divorces, some of that was taken by various wives. And then he said, because I've moved so much. Also, he said he has a faulty memory. So, he just can't remember everything he has and doesn't have. And, to provide a more accurate assessment of his belongings. This part was the funniest part of his testimony, though. Giuliani actually tried to sell the idea that emails are not communications. So he said that's why he didn't turn them over when the court ordered him to relinquish all of his communications during the discovery process, because he doesn't think that they're communications. So he was being cross-examined by Moss and Freeman's attorney, and the attorney asked, quote, do you understand that the term communication would include emails? And then Giuliani replied, quote, I don't think so, no. And then when the attorney pressed him on it, Giuliani said, quote, they are more like documents. Seriously? Really? This is a man who's been an attorney for decades, like 5 decades. He was a federal prosecutor, for Christ's sake. He doesn't know what emails are, that emails are communications. Yeah, okay. And then, of course, he complained a lot during his testimony. He whined about the quote unquote abusive discovery demands made by Moss and Freeman. He bitched about the quote unquote inappropriate questions that were asked by their attorney. And then Giuliani even took issue with the courtroom sketch artist. So this is Jane Rosenberg. She has been drawing Giuliani for many, many years. And you guys might recall, she made the news because she showed him having a total meltdown in this very same court. So this is about a month or so ago. So Giuliani was not happy about that, and he told her so. So he asked her, when he saw her in this hearing, he asked her to make him look good this time. And Giuliani said, quote, the last time you made me look like my dog. So that was all on Friday. Giuliani testified more on Monday, but he did that remotely because Moss and Freeman's attorney didn't have any more questions for him. So the judge allowed that. And then the judge issued his ruling yesterday and said, quote, plaintiffs have moved for sanctions against defendant. The motion is granted. The court found that the defendant's objections were meritless. He was ordered to answer by December 20. Defendant violated the order. The court takes judicial notice that the defendant was until recently a barred attorney and has committed discovery violations in the past. He has lost on both procedural and substantive questions. It was not even close. He violated the court's order. Judge Lyman went on to say that Giuliani, quote, has offered a series of shifting meritless objections. The court concludes that defendant has been attempting to run out the clock. Discovery is not supposed to be a shell game where the hidden ball is moved around and around. So Lyman plans to rule on quote unquote appropriate sanctions at a later date. So I will keep you posted on that. In the meantime, though, Giuliani finally handed over the lease for his New York apartment, and he gave them the title for his Mercedes. However, both of those documents include the name of his ex-wife. So she's listed as a co-owner. So he's going to have to get that removed before Moss and Freeman can do anything with these assets. So there you go. I will keep you informed as soon as I hear anything, as soon as the judge makes a determination. Let's hope that he throws him in jail, because really he can't, you can't, as the saying goes, you can't squeeze blood from a turnip. There is no more money. I mean, the guy already owes $148 million to these two women. Plus, he's involved in how many other lawsuits? So hitting him with a financial sanction is just ridiculous. It's not going to do a damn thing. He's not going to pay it. And there's no other option, as I see it, than to throw him in jail for a little while, let him sit there and realize that, yeah, you threw your entire life and career away for a lying, lifelong con artist. And there are consequences. So anyway, I'll let you know. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. Please like, please share, and subscribe. Please donate if you can. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.